Yes, everybody, welcome back. My name is Stephen Howson. This is a little bit of a transfer talk. Cheers for joining us. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe if you're new. We've got loads to talk about tonight. One thing that we are getting in lockdown is because everyone's getting on the phone for hours and hours and hours a day, is we're finding out there's news, and also seems to be like United are pushing along doing stuff. Saw some people saying that Gomez had signed a contract extension. Excuse me. I have investigated, and I don't have an answer on that yet. If I do, it'll be in the Patreon group within minutes. But I asked his fucking dad, actually, and I haven't got a response yet. So as soon as I get a word, I'll let you guys know. Last time I asked him, he told me that he hadn't, and he told me instantly, and he's left me on red at the moment, so I don't know if that means anything or not, but he's always been straight up with me in the past, so I imagine that if we get word on it, we'll get word on it. There's also some talk that Grealish has had his fee agreed, and again, I'm not sure on that front either. People have been asking, I haven't really got an answer. So as soon as there is anything that's concrete, I will get into it. But in the meantime, let's have a look at what's popping off on here at the moment. So Jadon Sancho is obviously the first one that we're going to be talking about. According to Spanish news outlet Diario Madridista, the England international is not interested in Chelsea and is set to choose between Old Trafford or the Bernabeu. Very interesting that Diario Madridista would think that he's going to the Bernabeu. Madrid supposedly lacking behind United due to the fact that they plan to offer players as part of any deal rather than cash, which I think is a massive thing, actually. And on that front, I have got a podcast which I recorded today with Raphael Honigstein coming out, and he's got some interesting takes on what's going on with Jadon Sancho. Rio Ferdinand's had an interesting take on Jadon Sancho. He says, I want him to go to a team where he will play, improve, and get trophies. He's been linked with United, Chelsea, PSG. I'm not seeing him linked with PSG, but I think United is the place for him to go because I'm biased. Love it. Of course he has to. If he wears a number 7, he has to be there for the next 10 years. That's what that shirt demands and deserves. If you're buying someone for 10 years at your club, it's massive money, but I'd take him and risk it. Now, Rio should know about that as well because he was a 10-year signing. He ended up being there a little longer than that, where it's insane cash. But actually, if you have someone that's insane cash and you have them for 10, 12, 13, 14 years, it settles out over that time and it turns out being a fantastic investment. If you get someone that stays as long as Rooney did, as long as Rio did, there is no issue with them in whatsoever. So, in terms of Sancho, I mean, I've been updating our Patreon group for months and months and months on the front of this. Jadon wants this move. My take on this is the only obstacle is, can United agree a fee with Dortmund? I can see Dortmund wanting to sell. It's part of their business model. I can see United putting up the sort of money that would be accepted. It just, has this fucking pandemic changed any of that for anybody? And if it has, does that affect what we're able to do in the market? Does it affect with what Dortmund want? More importantly than that, we will talk about Ed Woodward becoming less of a part of the transfer negotiation team. Do United play silly buggers with this? Because I think United have got it in them to fuck about. Like, to rock up at Dortmund and arrogantly think that because the financial situation across the world, they can go in and try and get him on the cheap. Now, if United did that, they'll fuck the whole thing up. But if that's a smooth process, I'm pretty sure you'll see Jadon Sancho as a Manchester United player. I've seen loads of people in the comments talking about what number does that mean that he gets. I know someone else is interested in the number 7 at United. I don't think it matters. I don't really put that much into the numbers. Number fucking 41 could be big if it turns out you have a big player wearing it. Ultimately, I don't really care about the numbers all that much. Get your questions in, get your comments in, and make sure you like the video. And I'm going to come to them in a second. But Jadon Sancho for me, and someone's already mentioned it there in the comments, Wan-Bissaka and Jadon Sancho on the right-hand side. Don't know how that would perform, but it wouldn't be bad, I don't think. In my head, I'm thinking, right, what if we got deficiencies in there? I don't think Jadon's the best defensively. I don't think he works that hard defensively, tracking back. I think he's pretty good pressing. Don't think he tracks back all that much. What's Wan-Bissaka's deficiency? Well, he's not the best attacker. Okay, link them up together, it could be brilliant. Gary Neville wasn't the best attacker, but sometimes all he had to do was make an overlapping run, and that give Beckham half a yard of space and the time to get off his cross. There could be a similar setup in a totally different style of play with Wan-Bissaka and Jadon Sancho down the right-hand side. Similar age, if not actually the same age. They could grow together and be United's right-hand flank for 10 years. How fucking good would that be? Greenwood7 says Andrew. Maybe that's a little early for that, but suits it, doesn't it? Right, Sal Niguez. Fucking, I tell you what. One player I would move heaven and earth for, it's Sal Niguez. For me, he is the evolution of Ander Herrera. What sort of player is he? Because I've heard him mentioned as a defensive midfielder. I've heard people say he's a box-to-box midfielder. I've heard people say he can be an attacking midfielder. And all of them would be right, in all honesty. Like Ander Herrera. Ander Herrera was a number 10 very much at Athletic Bilbao. Ander Herrera, at times at Manchester United, fulfilled the role of an anchorman. He also played the regista role. He also was a very effective defensive midfielder that just tracked people. He was also a pretty good box-to-box midfielder. Ander Herrera was just a combative midfielder. That was good. I think Saul's quicker than him. I think he's more physical. I think he's probably a little bit more agile. I think he's got a better ball on him. For me, Sal Niguez is the evolution of Ander Herrera, who we haven't replaced. So we bring Bruno in as Pogba's replacement, and we'll get to him in a minute, and you have Ander Herrera being replaced by Sal Niguez. So on him, United have all but accepted Paul Pogba's departure and are prepared to offer Atletico star Sal Niguez a lucrative contract to lure him from Old Trafford. Have they all but accepted Paul Pogba's departure? Because we've got some conflicts on that later on. The Mirror is saying United are reportedly preparing to offer Niguez around 200k a week to make him a move to Old Trafford this summer, a staggering increase on his 115k at Athletic Madrid. He signed a 9-year contract, thought it was 7. All right, we'll see. But we're still unaware of how much this pandemic will affect certain clubs. Solskjaer, when speaking to Sky Sports, says, who knows which clubs will need to sell? There might just be a situation where you can exploit, and I know that Manchester United is one of the biggest in the clubs, financially well off. I'm sure we're capable, when we get back to normality, that we can do the business when we want to. People I've been talking to, for me, it felt a bit like bluster when I first heard United say that, and I didn't really like the fact that we were saying that. But I'm almost buying the bullshit here, to be honest. I might get swept up in the bullshit from the club that United are prepared to go big. I mean, the last year has shown me that they might be able to. If they pull out Sancho and someone like Niguez in one summer, then I have to hold my hands up and go, fucking hell, they mean business. Because that would be an unbelievable acquisition for United. And if you've got Fred and McTominay fighting out for number 6, alongside them Sal Niguez and Bruno, regardless of what happens with Pogba, that is one of the best midfields in world football. Hands down. I think you can probably improve on Fred and McTominay. I wouldn't argue with that. But if you could field a team that had 2 of those 3, it's not a bad midfield, I don't think, at all. Oh, do you know what? Fucked up here, didn't I? Supposed to do that when I was talking about Sal Niguez. For me, Sal's just a top all-round player. He's the sort of quality that you need in a squad that you want to challenge for the title in. I don't think you can have passengers when you're trying to challenge for a title. Is he going to be the final piece of a jigsaw that gets United over a line to challenge? I don't think so. I still think there needs to be quality in other areas and options in other areas, but I definitely think it'd be a decent start to doing that. On Monday, we spoke about Deo Upamecano. Doesn't feel like United are in the hunt for him yet, even though he definitely fits the profile of what we would call a Manchester United signing. But this guy, Kalidou Koulibaly, might be finally leaving Napoli this summer, and he has a choice between United, City and PSG. What a coincidence. The same 3 clubs linked to every fucker. United City are also reportedly interested in Dayot Upamecano, so it may be the case that one of the Manchester clubs lands Koulibaly and the other Upamecano. Can you imagine City get both? Jesus. Upamecano has a release clause of around 50 million and could fit Solskjaer's remit. But Koulibaly leaving this summer, according to La Repubblica, who would you rather go for? Do we need an up-and-comer? Do we want to be getting in at the first step now and bringing someone like Upamecano in and allow him to grow into the player he's definitely going to end up being? Or do you get the finished article in Koulibaly right now and try and get a bit of short-term success? I was chatting to someone earlier, and they said, if we were sensible, and honestly, I love this idea so much. I nearly said murder my kids then, but that's getting a bit giddy. I love this idea so much. Their idea was, you go and speak to Leipzig, and you say, hey, I tell you what, we'll take that Upamecano off your hands, and you can take Axel on loan for a season. And I went, fuck off, that's fucking brilliant. Axel needs top flight experience. He did fantastic at Aston Villa. He needs to step this up now and play somewhere that's probably competing in Europe and probably going to be in the top 3 or 4 in their league. Replacing Upamecano at Leipzig is the fucking perfect opportunity for him. And actually, United should probably establish a relationship with someone like Leipzig where we can send our youngsters that are on the fringes, like an Axel, and improve them. Send Axel, send Laird, send Levitt. Let them play top-flight German football in a team that's competing. How fucking good is that for an idea? I can't tell you who said it, but I was like, mate, that's an absolute fucking banger. Do I think that Bruno, Pogba and Saul would work, says Harry in the comments. How could it not? How could it not work? What a fucking unbelievable midfield three that is. What an unbelievable midfielders. Speaking of people that I can't name, I don't know if you saw the tweet that I banged out earlier. I will retweet it in a moment. There's somebody that I know. It's not a friend, but someone that I know who is an England international who I'm not allowed to name, right? I know that sounds weird, but he's after... I'm trying to think how the fuck I'll word this without getting anyone in trouble. He's after building a shirt collection. There's some shirts that he's after that he doesn't want to say publicly that he's after because it leads to questions that he doesn't want to answer, shall we say. But if you've got any match-worn shirts and you're interested in trading them with an England player, England international who plays in the Premier League, that's as far as I can go, then please get in touch with me on Twitter because he's looking to buy them or trade them if you've got the players that he's after. And he'd be up for personalising some stuff for you as well. Do not ask me who it is because I'm not allowed to tell you. I'll put you in contact with him or his agent and we'll sort it all out. So if you've got anything to trade, you've got some match-worn shirts, let me know and I'll put you in contact with them. And stop trying to guess. It's not Rashford. I said United player if it was Rashford, wouldn't I? Right, and finally then, the Paul Pogba, the daily Paul Pogba, we should call it. James Cooper, Sky Sports, supposed to be coming on the podcast very soon as well. He says, yes, he's missed, but not in the way he was prior to Christmas when the teams were struggling. Right now, I believe the club have more power than the player in this situation than at any stage since he returned to Old Trafford. I do agree on that. His contract situation means he's another year plus the option of another year, so effectively 2 more years. But I think there are more reasons for him to stay than go. That I disagree with. I think there are not more reasons for him to stay than to go, and clearly he wants to go. It'll be down to Solskjaer ultimately, but whether he sees the right desire and determination from the player, I can't see any club having the money, this I definitely agree with, or the will to do a deal for a player who's appeared twice in almost 6 months. Totally agree with that. Asking for the money Pogba is undoubtedly worth is going to not happen in the current climate. If Real Madrid are thinking they're going to go and just start like offering a load of cards out to Dortmund, like, do you want to pick some of these? Got some swaps? Got some... Keep it? Need it? Got it? Yeah. There's no way that anyone's going to stump up the cash because Real Madrid, Paris are the only 2 teams that you hear about, and I don't think Paris is an option. for him. Subic says it's Rebecca Vardy. It's not Rebecca Vardy or Jamie Vardy. It's Robbie Savage. He's Welsh. And he's not a current international. It's a current international. So, figure that one out. Pogba versus Souness. I have recorded a Pogba versus Souness part 2. Don't know if you saw the last one I did, but just search Stephen Howson Souness. You'll find it. Go check it out. But like I said, if you're interested in swapping some shirts with an England international, he'll even do some personalised stuff for it if he gets what he's after. Then just hit me up on the old socials. And apart from that, cheers for tuning in. We're trying to get to 1,500 Patreons. We're about 1,250. We're well close. And when I do, I'm going to shave this absolute fucking disgrace of an hairdo live on air, probably on the rundown while we're getting absolutely twisted. If you've not watched it yet either, you need to tune in on Saturday night. We're doing a quiz and we're getting absolutely fucking steaming on Saturday nights. Me and the wife do it. This weekend we had these fucking stupid sunglasses on. I've just broke hers, I think. Just to let you know what sort of serious establishment we're running over here. We get loads of rundowners, we have a quiz, and we have a fucking good old time. 9 o'clock, Saturday. But tomorrow, keep it locked. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. We have got Pogba versus Souness part 2 coming out, so make sure you do not miss it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Laters.